Sitaram, dear viewers, and welcome to SWAHA Viewpoint. We begin our program with opening prayer, which will be done by Pundit Adesh, and of course, he will lead us off in questions as to what we need to address. So, Panditji, welcome, and we begin with opening prayer.
Let's all concentrate on Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kansachanur Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Boliye Vrindavan Sri Krishna Chandra ki.
So, it should be some time since we got together, Panditji, so I leave it open to you, whatever questions you would like to bring forward for discussion. It's now open.
Thank you, Guruji. Now, as many would be aware, within your family, you faced a recent loss. Different parts of the family, I should say. So, loss on all sides, so to speak. And we understand that the rituals underwent some transformation. Over the years, you've encouraged modifications to these practices, and you've done so, even at your own home. Now, we've spoken at length in many programs in the past on Guru Puran. We talked about the inner philosophy behind these rituals and so on. And given the circumstances, I thought it would be wise to bring these things back up to light, especially seeing that these rituals are being done in 5 days. Now, Guruji, let me start by asking, what was your inspiration to influence these changes, to modify the practices from the long-established tradition, so to speak, modify it to 5 days?
Okay, so I'm happy to use the word inspiration. Over the years, remember, it's about 59 years now I've been actively practicing as a Pundit, and I have been exposed to what we may term the traditional way of doing everything, with the passing of time, different circumstances, different experiences, prompted me to analyze and question whether we need to do what we are doing in the way that we are doing. Now, from ever since I've been thinking that whatever we do, all our practices and so on, have their genesis in India. They all started in India, and maybe thousands of years ago. Now, one would be quick to understand, accept that the social condition, economic condition, all the different conditions that exist in a society way back then would be different from what they are now. And our scriptures tell us, time, place, circumstances, we make adaptations, adjustments to suit. But we have to understand, before we make any kind of adjustments, what is the reason or the why we are doing what we are doing. So over the years, because of certain exposure, these thoughts have crossed my mind, and I want to make it quite clear. I didn't just get up one morning all of a sudden and say, we're going to do this. It didn't happen just like that. And also some may think that, who gave me the authority to do that? As if I chose to do that, maybe for name, for fame, nothing like that. As a matter of fact, being a Pundit for all these years, I would try to do everything possible to enhance what we do. Because, let's make the point quite clear. Pitra Yagya, right? You have the ritualistic way, and there's the inner meaning. I've been preaching that the inner meaning of Pitra Yagya. We have received the body of laws, practices, etc. from the ancestors. We need to understand them, we need to maintain them, enhance them where possible, to pass on to future generations for survival, and to perpetuate these values, but based upon time, place, and circumstances. So this, to my mind, is the inner meaning of Pitra Yagya. Pitra Yagya, not just bare rituals. So based upon various experiences, I gave it some thought, and I analyzed, and I looked at Guru Puran, and certain things were said there, I began to question. So based upon what I questioned, I tried to analyze, and to my mind, we need to make some changes, which is what I've implemented. And when I say I have implemented, in my own home, I did it. Now, most people are scared to make any change because they are afraid of death. Right? cowards die many times before their deaths. And I'm saying, why be afraid? I just mentioned not too long ago to someone, those who have died, they're in a better place than we are in. They have no pain, they have no suffering, etc., etc. You see? So we have to look at the whole perspective, and everything that is done has to be from our perspective, not the departed perspective. So the experience over the years has, given me this motivation to try to analyze. And I did some critical study of scriptures, etc., Gita in particular, and I've come to certain conclusions.
Understood, Guruji. So, what would your comments be then to, I want to say, practicing Pundits? Guru Puran has certain things stated, quite literally. And, of course, the consensus among some out there is whatever scriptures are written, it should be taken just like that, because they are seen as works of God. It's not meant to be interpreted, all these things. So Guru Puran, there are sections that says, listen, shaving should be done in 10 days. Before that is impure. What would you say to such people to help remove their doubts?
Now, it is a source of disappointment for me that a person who, I've been reading scriptures long years, more than most of the people who are now practicing Punditai, right? I say 50-something years. Now, if one were to study scriptures, you have the literal part of it. As we keep saying, the mysteries of the world can be unraveled in 3 different ways. There is the experimental outlook, there is the cosmological outlook, and there is the metaphysical outlook. So, take scriptures for instance, Ramayana. The experimental outlook can be classified as the story itself. Very beautiful. We can't do without it. It provides certain degree of comfort, etc. But therein also lie certain cosmological principles that we need to apply to man's life. What is the purpose? I go and sit down and listen to a scripture, you get a story and I go back home the same way. The scriptures teach us lessons through the lives of great men who lived in the past. And you must also understand that these great men we speak about, they lived in a different time, different circumstances compared to what we are doing now. So therefore, this is why we have to go to the underlying principle that governs everything. So, like cosmological laws, be a good husband, be a good wife, be a good child. And I've been saying, after all these years of preaching, when you come to a yagya, don't you know that you have to be a good husband? Don't you have to be a good wife, a good child, etc.? I am wasting my time and to a certain extent your time by telling you that. Let me tell you something otherwise. So those are the cosmological laws. But the metaphysical is the application of scriptures to every individual. Now there's what they call the earth. The earth in this context doesn't mean the meaning. Like, just literal meaning. Earth means in the essence. And every scripture, all religions, I'm bold enough to say that, you have to have deeper meaning. That is applicable to the person in a metaphysical sense. This is where the true value of scriptures come in. And unfortunately, we have many storytellers. And to my mind, I could be wrong, but I firmly believe when they say you have to read scriptures, the scriptures are literally straight. I think that it's because you do not understand, you don't get the deeper meaning. So therefore, you share the superficial level. This is why I keep saying religion like the preschool system, primary, secondary, tertiary. Majority of people preschool. Now some may say, if that preschool, then why not teach them at that level? But how long are we going to stay in preschool? From my teaching experience, if I have a class at a certain level, I start there, but I won't take you forward. I can't keep you there for your whole life. And I consider this to be part of intellectual laziness, if not stupidity, to make that statement. We read the scriptures, yes, you read it, we read the books, we get the lessons from them, etc. But if I can't apply metaphysically, we are lost. And I use a simple example, Ramayana, Ayodhya Puri. Now if I ask a question, Ayodhya Puri in India, what does that have to do with me? Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra, what do those three have to do with me? Dashrath, what? But if I understand that Ayodhya Puri represents the human body, situated with the 9 gates, Dashrath, the 10 senses, The three queens, the three gunas, Sat, Raj, and Tam. The four sons, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karam Yoga. You take it to a principle level, metaphysical, scriptures have much, much more effect and application to my life than anything otherwise. See? So, even when we do literature at school, you do poems and so on, whatever, you don't take those things literally. Why do you take scripture literally? So I use an example, for instance, Garuda Puran, one I keep beating up all the time. Many Pundits say they use Garuda Puran. I ask a question. They say when a husband dies, the wife is supposed to burn herself. Many husbands have died, and wives still there. Why didn't they burn themselves? Now I ask the question, but then I say to myself, I say to them also, you have burnt yourself, meaning what? Burning yourself doesn't imply sitting on the chitta and committing suicide. No scriptures teach that. Burning yourself implies, they say if you want to attain liberation in this lifetime, the wife should live this type of life. What it means? A life of self-discipline, a life of yoga. So in other words, you burn yourself in the fires of self-discipline. You don't live a normal kind of life again anymore. So actually, you burn yourself, not physically. Now this is what is meant by the scriptures, Garuda Puran. Again, Garuda Puran tells you that when you die, I don't know, they dip in hot oil, they pull you out, dip in hot oil, pull you out, and I ask you a question, when? Before I die? Then if you dip in hot oil, you kill me. That's murder. After I die, we can discuss all this. After I die, the body is burnt. What is dipped in hot oil? I'm not saying Garuda Puran is wrong, but you cannot take it literally. The world can be compared to be a cauldron of hot oil, this world in which we live. And every one of us, time and again, we are dipped in the hot oil. Like I went through that recently when my wife passed away, right? That has been dipped into hot oil. You know, you feel the pain, etc. Then everything okay, you come back out. To be dipped again and in and out based upon karma. If you understand the interpretation of it, everybody goes through this. You see? But there's not a physical cauldron, pot of hot oil will dip you in. See? So interpretation of scriptures is very, very important. And I do not agree at all that you should just read the book straight. If you can't interpret, read it straight before you talk nonsense. And if you can interpret, you have deeper meaning, deeper understanding, and importantly, Pundit, a lot of people read, yes, read. Sometimes even reading not correct. But if you don't have anubhav, personal experience, what you talking? So this is part of the problem. Many have no experience, right? They green in this whole thing. They can't interpret scriptures, barely reading scriptures, and they want to pass judgment on someone who has been doing this thing donkey years now. It amazes me.
But I think some of the problems stem from, I want to put a lack of experience in reading it straight. I mean, yes, the scriptures are there, and you know, we have the authority to read it straight, so to speak. But Garuda Puran, for example, mentions an extensive travel of the soul. And I mean,
yeah,
we discussed that many times.
All right, so let's come back to the point. Garuda Puran tells you all that. And by the way, I want to establish a fact. Garuda Puran was written in the Middle Ages. Middle Age. And what is written there is what was done, what used to be done. And I add, not what has to be done. There's a difference. Every age, every circumstance, people document things, like in Trinidad, way in the past, and they speak about the Dwen, speak about Sukuya, about different things. Where do they exist now? Do they have fairy tales? Okay? So to every society, based upon where they have certain things documented, but you have to read into it. So Garuda Puran was written in the Middle Ages. What was documented, what was done, and I'm adding, not what has to be done. You have to interpret. All right. So they say the soul leaves the body. Isn't that so?
Yes.
The soul goes through 16 villages. And I've always asked the question, where are these villages? Somebody in Trinidad in Awangwes die, you pass through Awangwes, you pass through Charlieville, you pass through Pinal, pass through Barakpo, where are these 16 villages? Somebody die in Canada, where are these 16 villages? Somebody die in India, where are these 16 villages? What is the meaning of this? So with all this comes back now, I'd like to go to Bhagavad Gita. Let's look at chapter 2. Right? Now, verse 23 and verse 24, they are two very important verses. The verse 23, everybody quotes it. Naindang chindanti sastani, naindang dahati pavaka. Na chainang kledayan chapo na shosheti marutaha. Correct? Fire can't burn the soul, water can't burn the soul, wind can't dry it, weapons can't cut it. Correct?
Correct.
All right. So, we say that the soul is unwettable, uncuttable, undryable, etc. Now, if the soul could go back to that, fire can't burn it. This is why I ask you a question, what you dip in hot oil? The soul cannot be burnt. You burn the body. Right. Now, one part of this, which Pundits who read scriptures do pay attention to. You have fire, water, air, and earth. 4 tattvas. How many tattvas we have in all?
5.
5. So then speak of Akash. So in other words, fire, water, earth, wind, etc. have no effect on the soul. And it's in this context I keep telling people that when you bhandara and so on as they call it, you put food outside, that is not for the person who has died. Because the soul doesn't eat food. Right? People say they put pinda every month. I asked one time, why do that? They say Lord Krishna comes back with the soul to eat the pinda. What stupidity is that? What stupidity is that? The soul eating pinda? Lord Krishna starving eating pinda? You see, all this is preschool thinking. And sometimes even before preschool, those who never go to school yet, in a level of ignorance. Ignorance. And so they say what they think, they hear what they feel, and fear overpowers them. Now, chapter 24. Sorry, verse 24, chapter 2. Right? Let me go back. The 4 Lord Tattvas have no effect on the soul. The soul, Bhagwan Krishna says, Nitya, eternal. Sarvagataha, all pervasive. Tanur, immovable. Immovable. Achaloyam, immutable, unchangeable. Sanatanam, everlasting. Now, within the Gita, the soul is immovable, but you're talking nonsense and say the soul passing through 16 villages. When Bhagwan says the soul is immovable, there are 2 types of movement, vibration and movement. Vibration, the soul neither vibrates nor does it move from place to place. So people say, Garu Puran, Lord Krishna say whatever. Lord Krishna in the Gita saying whatever. Who do you believe? So if the soul is immovable, I'm not condemning Garu Puran, Notice what I'm saying. 16 villages. What are the 16 villages? It all goes back to the composition of the human. How many bodies we have on it?
3.
I'm glad you know that.
Of course, yeah.
Some people don't even know we have 3 bodies. Now there's one physical body, there's an astral body, and there's a causal body. The physical body made of 25 tattvas. The pancha tattva quintuplicated, panchikaran process. The physical body dies. Now many people say the soul leaves the body. Yes, we are accustomed saying that. That is for those who are not learned, which is the majority of people. So we say the soul leaves the body. But Bhagavan said the soul is immovable. Where it going? Now, the 16 villages, the astral body made of 16 tattvas. Now, nobody going to this kind of level. Take it physical, superficial. Put pinda here, put pinda there, do this, do that. Superficial on the outside, not understanding the philosophy of Hinduism. So, I don't condemn Garu Puran, I try to understand what it means. The 16 tattvas in the astral body are the 16 villages, so to speak, because the sages write, all who study literature would know, they refer to the body as a city, the tattvas as villages, etc. So what is implied? Right? The astral body, the physical body dies. Right? We say the soul moving away, gone wherever. Astral body, 16 tattvas. By the way, what are they? 5 karamindriya, 5 gyanindriya, the 5 tanmatras and the mind. These are 16 tattvas. Yeah? What happens is that the astral disintegrates. So the sages put it as if the soul passed through, not passed physically, it goes beyond the 16 tattvas, 16 villages. It then going nowhere. Right? Because Bhagavan said it is immovable. immovable. So when you understand what is going on here, the physical body disintegrates, it dies, astral body disintegrates, the soul is not, where is the soul? The soul can be compared to a circle of infinite circumference, but with the center in the body, to put it simply. Right? And there is only that circle of infinite circumference. I can't even say how many, because that would, you could enumerate them 1, 2, 3. No, infinite is infinite. There is this circle of infinite circumference, what we call Brahm, that infinite, etc. And if the soul is a circle of infinite circumference, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, the Mahavakyas of the Vedas, this is who we are and what we are. The soul is no different from the super soul, but with the center in the body. So I ask you a question, how many centers could a circle of infinite circumference have? And mathematically, infinite. To put it simply, a center here, a center there, each person is like a center. And what happens is that when the physical disintegrates, the astral disintegrates, maybe the center shifts. And what we say here, if you have an infinite circle, the center is anywhere and everywhere, mathematically speaking. But that's hard to understand. Yeah. I use another example. If I have a culture, air is everywhere, air is inside, isn't it? If I burst the culture, where does the air inside go? Does it go anywhere?
No, same air.
Now, if you understand a system that is compact, right? Is there any room for movement? Atma is same as that Supreme Brahm. Where is movement? I just mentioned no vibration, no physical movement. But we are told now for human comfort that, the soul goes through here. So when it's time for shaving, now they get the slippers. Because the fellow passing through, walking 16 villages, the pitch will burn his foot. Umbrella, shelter him. And nainang chindan to sastani, nainang dahati pavakaha. Fire can burn his soul. Pitch will burn his foot. Hindus don't ask the question. And they follow blindly. So the Mahapath tell you, get this, get that, help the soul along its journey. And sometimes I'm embarrassed to say this thing. One Mahapatra, very smart, knowing the vulnerability of people, they told them, you have to get 2 cell phones. One digital, one be mobile. Why? You have to call up the soul. I would have sent them to find the soul. You understand? People bought it because they were vulnerable. Now, Adesh, we know my wife passed away. All right. You know what I'm saying? I did whatever I could have done when she was alive.
Right.
When she has passed away, her karmas will take her where she goes. Know what I do? And I'm not concerned about it at all. I mean, you must have elements of grief all in between, you follow. But actually, you see, I keep saying she's in a better place. As I said earlier on, no pain, no discomfort, nothing at all. I have to worry about myself. So this is why I make the point that when somebody dies, their karmas take them where they go, not what I do. What I do afterwards, this is the point I want to come to. It is repayment of the debts of gratitude that I owe all the ancestors. So Shiv Samhita tells us, you have the Pancharin, the 5 debts. Debt to God, debt to the rishis, to the ancestors, society and low forms of creation. Performing these karmas on a daily basis is what we call nitya karma. I owe these debts, I have to repay them on a daily basis. When somebody dies, I am repaying these 5 debts. Now, as long as we live, we owe these debts. So, I do Krishna Puja, yag. I read Gita, Rishi Yagya. I do Havan, Swadha, as for the ancestors. People partake of meals and so on. Atma Nivedan, Manushya Yagya. And the food that I put outside, that is for the lower forms of creation. So I'm repaying my 5 debts of gratitude, the debts that I owe. Now, devotees, what we have, we have to understand what takes place here. If I don't get blessings, why do I do this? Does somebody die every day? Bhandara, Srad, is Nitya Karma. Sorry, Naimitic Karma, occasion. So by so doing, I gain a lot of merits, blessings. Okay? So the question I ask is that, is it too early to repay debts of gratitude? So I go back to Garuda Puran. Garuda Puran says, when a Sudra dies, Bhandara is 40 days. When a Vaishya dies, Bhandara is 17 days. When a Kshatri dies, Bhandara is
13.
And when a Brahman dies, 12 days.
Yeah.
How many days most people do Bhandara now? 13. So everybody becomes Kshatri. You ask them what caste you belong to, do it know what you're talking about. But everybody doing 13 days. Now the question is the soul. Does the soul have a caste? Now the body carries whatever handles, but you won't need body. The soul, namadi bhedarhitam sharbhava shunyam. No name, no form, manabudhankar chitani naham, Shankaracharya put it. I am beyond all these limitations. So who are you doing this art for? Not the soul. Not the departed soul. So I am saying, if I owe my debt of gratitude, and I can do it in this time, I don't know what will happen afterwards. I use the example, in one family, 6 people died in 2 weeks' time during COVID. How many 13 days Bhandara are you going to do? And when they say 13 days, because they feel the soul moving, the soul reach here, the soul reach here, and I just said, the soul doesn't go away. Now this is my firm belief. The body has gone, but that Atma, as we say, always here, never ever is absent.
So, Guruji, if I were to just, one quick last question, what would your response be to certain pressures devotees are faced with outside there when faced with these circumstances where they are told by, let me use the word elders, that, this is the final rites and you should make the sacrifice and do it in the right way, quote unquote, the right way.
What is the right way? The right long time? I'm sure we have Sudras in society. How many do 40 days Bhandara? How many do 17 days? So don't tell me about the writing. Like a cop out, you're talking nonsense. Right? The right thing is to fulfill the obligation that you have. Whether in 1 day, whether in 5 days, whether whatever. And people ask me, why 5 days? You do cremation today, tomorrow you dispose of the ashes and so on, do mohi. Next day you shave. Shave home. And we shall discuss in perhaps a subsequent program what shaving is all about. Iske badhe they prepare and you do srad. Full srad. You're not missing out anything except doing it in a short space of time. And I'll make one point here. My son is in Gainesville. He lectured at the University of Florida. You think he could tell them that my mother died after 13 days to do Bhandara? Could they understand that? The world is a global village. You see? So when people get into it, he who wears his shoes, no wears pinches he most. So people only open their mouth and talk all kind of nonsense until circumstances confront you. But that is not the reason why I'm doing, well, I did 5 days. That's not the main reason. It is a consideration. But I've explained to you why. Because I believe the soul doesn't die. And all this thing is not for the soul. I will put my debt of gratitude. And one last thing, let me say upon it. Many people say, why 5 days? So for who's stupid, sorry to put it like this, and can't understand, you know what I say? My wife, for about a month and a half, she didn't eat. And if you think the Bhandara is to give her food, she's hungry. I'll do it quick, so she won't starve. If that satisfies you, fix up. Because ignorance, murkhasya shadhi nasti, there is no cure for stupidity. I don't blame people. I know because they were fed this, but why not try to understand? And to close, I'm saying, I firmly believe in what Albert Einstein said. There are 2 things, he said, are infinite. 1, the universe. And 2, human stupidity. He said, I'm not sure about the universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're sure about human stupidity. Understood, Guruji. So, Guruji, let me say thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule for the benefit of myself and the listening public to enlighten us on all these posts after that, ceremonies and so on. And I hope we can continue this discussion going forward.
Sure. And to our viewers, I keep saying you may not fully agree with me, but keep your mind open, analyze. And change must take place, but we don't change the practice. I mean, the philosophy of it. Methodology could change based upon time, place, and circumstances. So, I hope you fully appreciate, and any questions, feel free to contact us. Blessings and many thanks until next time. Sitaram.